Screen share. And optimize that for sound. Okay, share.
Yep, that.
And go back up to the top of the video, back it up to the start. And then hit play. And then pause. Do you want to give an introduction?
We'll do that. I'm not sure. How do I get rid of this stuff on the side here so it's actually more
Full screen.
go ahead. Full screen.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So now you're recording. Are you in your Zoom breakout room?
I don't know.
Check. What's your breakout room number?
2.
2. You go join room 2 and make sure.
I don't like these. Can't see the screen.
No, we'll turn the lights off.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come in. I'm Terry Huffman, the district governor, and I just wanted to remind you of our 60 members in 60 days. 60 members in 60 days, whichever club gets the most people is going to get a pizza party. You can get it from anywhere you want. It'll be the best pizzas that we ever ate. So we're looking for numbers. We're looking for those 60, and there's a lot of people that are doing it. And I also wanted to remind you that at the convention, if you have members that you want to bring in, we have the international director that will induct them. So that would be very, very special for a new member. Even if you come to the convention just for lunch or just for dinner, that's still possible for you to do. So catch up with me still this evening if you're interested. And if you have new members, let us know. We want to get them in.
You want to know about the new members tonight or?
Let us know tonight.
Okay.
If you can let us know, because we want to prepare kits and stuff like that. And if you can get the names ahead of time, that would even be better.
I know I have one because we want one right on the board.
Awesome.
But there may be 2 or 3 more, I'm not quite sure. I don't have those names.
All right.
with me.
Okay.
Oh, no, yes, I do. I have another person's name.
Okay. Betty and Cheryl have my number.
Okay. So I can tell them to let you know that.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm so glad that
And
Wendy.
how many people are, just with a raise of hand, how many people are on have gone on?
Come on. Screen share.
How many you get out the week?
Nobody. It allows us to record each room. Okay. And then he wanted full screen. So I go back across the hall, and he's on his room, and see if it looks like it's supposed to.
Stick people out. It's like that. Hey, yes, the rules get weird. Keep her out.
I have a sign-in sheet. And I want everybody to write their name, your club, your email.
Yes.
Oh, duh.
There's three of them.
Okay. The kick isn't working.
All righty. Well, everybody, welcome to secretary training. So we had a hard time recruiting somebody to teach this class, so we actually are using a video. We have a double barreled program tonight. We have a video that was actually recorded a couple of years ago, 2020, by Deborah Love Peel, and some of you may have gone to this. It was a virtual training class that was held. Anyway, it's a pretty good class. We've edited it somewhat to get the time down to a little bit more reasonable level so we can have some questions. And we have a bunch of handouts for you that has, a lot of it's the same information in very different ways. So the handouts you have don't necessarily follow the slide presentation that she has, which isn't much of a slide. It's actually just an outline kind of that she's using. She's mostly talking. So as you listen to her make some notes, you'll find everything she's talking about in the handout tab plus more, a little bit more. So don't be intimidated. And then Dick, when we finish the video, then we can have some questions. And then Dick is the secretary down in Blissfield, been a secretary for several years, and he's going to answer questions that you might have. And then following this class is going to be My Lion and the service coordinator position. So Brent Barrissey, who's over in the president's class, he's going to be conducting that session. Brent was involved in My Lion from pretty much the beginning of it. And so he's very knowledgeable about how it works and so what some of the issues are. You know, a lot of people have had issues. So I think that will be a very, very good session that he does. So we'll probably have some more people join us for that. But for now, let me go ahead and start.
So Deborah is a district secretary over in A1. So, and she's been a secretary in her club for like 25 years or something like that. So she knows, sometimes it goes back and forth a little bit between districts.
Just with a raise of hand, how many people are on?
Okay, so this starts abruptly.
But how many people are, just with a raise of hand, how many people are on have gone on the LCI website and signed in, got your passwords and all of that you can get in?
That was a question that I sent to everybody that was registered to try to establish a My Lion account if you don't already have one. So has anybody done that? Yeah, okay. So, and you're a brand new secretary, right? Is that what I heard? Yeah. So I have a presentation that I could send you that has step-by-step.
Is that it right there?
No.
Yes, that would be great.
So anybody that needs that, I'll send it to you. Sure. Just when you get the sign up, just put a note on there that you need the My Lion. Okay. So we'll see how this goes.
Really the best that's the tool for the secretary. Signing in and getting that password because you can see all the things with your club on this that I posted that you see on here is actually a training tool that International has. And this is a new tool, so I have not started doing that. And I will, but I'll probably do it for president because I've been secretary of too many different things too many times. But it's actually a tool where you can train in sections.
And what she's talking about at this point is that highlighted, it says online club training. and that's in my LCI. But you have to have an account to get to it, but it has online training for all the different positions. So that's what she's talking about.
To see, so while I'm doing that, one of the things with the club secretary is that you really are the sort of the glue for your club. You handle doing your roster or keeping it updated with information, which I know in our district is really important because the person who does our roster pulls the information from international. And as the district secretary for the second year now, we've had wrong numbers in our roster because that information was not updated for individuals in the club. And so it's real important, that's an important factor for, first of all, for international being able to get information to your members individually, because members get information individually as well as the leaders of the district. And so if that information is not correct, especially your email, and I know a lot of people change emails, or, you know, if you're using a work email and you're not at that job anymore, that becomes an issue when you can't get the information to you. It really showed its head during because of the pandemic, because we were on shutdown. And so for our district, we had to do our elections through email. It was interesting, challenging, and I hope we don't have to do that again. But we were having a real issue because some of the emails were not correct. So we had to do a lot of calling and to get ballots out. So it's real important that that information is as up to date as possible in your at LCI, because that's the go-to place for most of your leaders, your zone, your region chairs, and obviously the district governor and his immediate captain, i.e. the secretary, who has to usually look this stuff up. The online training that I was talking about is once you sign in, there's an online training to your your rights once you're in there. And this is sort of what it looks like. Now, this is mine. So because I'm designated as president, is why this president one is showing up. But you can actually go in and take other classes like the secretary training, and then it goes in steps. So there'll be different things it has you to do at one at a time. I'm gonna see if it will give me the list. Yesterday, I was able to get the list. Oh, here, the secretary, that I viewed the secretary. You see here, it starts out in a module. So if I click this, then I would go through that module, then it will show me the next module that I need to do. So that is a tool that I just recently found out about when we were doing our training a couple of weeks ago. So that, and I did put the link in there. So once you're in, you can actually put the link in and go there, but then it'll come up for whatever you are first. So you have to go to the library and find anything else that you want. One of the things is that the secretary manages the reporting of membership to LCI, which is what I mentioned before, manages the roster update, reports events and activities, and on My Lion, which I don't want to get a lot into because number one, I'm still learning My Lion. I know the basics, but it's still real new to me. But even though any club member can put the event in, the person who reports it is the secretary or the president. So they have to end up reporting. And I do understand that District Governor Dave is going to have a training for that. Actually, I'm going to sit in on that one. I need the update as well. You manage your new member applications, meaning that you put the new member information into LCI. And I'll show you where that is, so that those of you who were not familiar with it, you'll see where you can do all of these things. You order the supplies for your club through the And the reason I say with the approval of the president, the secretary and the president, unless they changed it, are the only ones that can order these supplies. And your club gets billed. So you want to make sure that this is, if you're ordering something, it has to be paid for. When it comes to new member packets, those are free. So the secretary can order those knowing you have new members. I usually keep about 5 every year. I don't do more than that because the international president signature is different each year. So you don't want to give an old packet to a member who joins in the new Lion year. And so you don't want to keep a lot on hand unless you're pulling members in at that rate. But those are free and the secretary can order those online.
Hey, Deborah,
Mhm.
we've got a question about my LCI and the reporting aspect of things.
Okay.
Can you report as you go, or do you need to wait for month end?
No, you can report as you go. In fact, if your club has a lot of activities going on, you might want to maybe section it off, have a day each week that you're doing that. For our club, we're a smaller club, but we have a lot of activities because what people also don't know a lot of times is that you can report services that you do as a Lion that you may not have done as a club. Maybe only 2 of you have done it, maybe only 1 person has done it. And so it could be a lot of activity. So you have to judge how often you want to do that based on how active your club members are.
Okay, thank you.
Now the preparing of the program in minutes. A lot of this, and I'll show you the book that I got it from, it's the ebook for secretary. I took out some points, and some I took out because I wanted to give you a little bit of an explanation about it, preparing programs and meetings. So it just depends on how your president wants that done in most cases. When, for instance, as a secretary for the district, and I've been one for the club, I put out the agenda, or if there's a guest, I arrange the timing, but I also approve that with either the district governor, district secretary, or the president as the club secretary. So it may be a collaborative preparing the program and meetings, depends on how your president wants that to go, what that format is. Usually what I say is if you're a new secretary and the president is a new president, you might want to get together with them at the beginning to find out how they want that to run for your club. Okay, and for me, it's always been the same on the club level and the district level. If there's an incoming district governor, I want to know how they want things to be. I was very fortunate last year because I was the secretary for the district governor that I was secretary for 10 years ago, so I already knew him. I knew what he was going to want, but a lot of times we don't. Obviously, the secretary manages the correspondence to club members and from the district to the club members. So anything that the president wants out to the club members and anything that the district wants out to all of the members in the district. That's probably the biggest job. And what I have done as secretary is in my email, I have a group tab. So when I'm sending something out to the club, I just hit that and all the members show up. So I don't have to keep trying to figure out who to put in and who not to put in. And then I copy myself in case somebody says they didn't get it, so I can resend it and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. 6 minutes for your meeting, your regular club meetings, your board meetings, and all of that. So I don't do shorthand. I can type pretty fast, but I don't always have a computer at a meeting that I'm at. And I really want to be part of the meeting. And for me to try to take notes and listen to what's going on in the meeting is not good for me. So you have to determine how you want to do it. I'm a big proponent of taping the meeting. And in this day and age, you do not have to go out and buy a special tape recorder or anything like that. You have a tablet or you have a cell phone that does, other than flip. And I have to say that because there are people who still have, my brother-in-law still has a flip phone, and I told him, don't bring it out when you're around me. It's embarrassing. So, but if you have a newer phone, let's say it that way, there's a great tool that's on there, and you can tape, and it's real clear, and you usually can tape where even people who are further away from it. And what I do is I may take a few notes for things that I personally want to remember, but I take the whole thing, and then later on I put headsets on, and then I write down those things that are important. I do that also for our district, because obviously when we have a cabinet meeting, you got 50 million people talking. If I had to write all of that down, I have arthritis in my hands sometimes, where that would not happen. Half of that would not get written. So to me, it's a great tool to use that report, and then go back and do those minutes. Typically, as secretary, when I get done with the minutes for the club, I usually send them to the president, and the president just makes sure that nothing was left out, or he or she does not want to add something else in there, and then the secretary sends it out to your membership.
Deborah, can you explain what goes to where? So
we're gonna pause for a minute
My
here.
grandfather chose to be in a business. Things that people. One of the things that we have struggled with is that how do we reach a younger generation? I think having an online presence is huge. The coolest thing that we've had through Google is having the see what's in store option.
Alex and his team are in Waverly, Illinois, where they're getting the Dwayne Stone collection ready for auction.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's a couple points in there that, and if you remember, this was recorded in 2020. And so one of the things she talked about was who can report activities. And as of this last year, there are actually, so there's the president has the ability to record activities in MyLion. And it used to be My LCI, now it's MyLion.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How do you get to that? Is it a website or
Yes.
is it an app?
It's a website,
Can you,
but you can actually download it on your phone.
yeah. Can you tell me what it's called?
It's called,
You do better than that. Open up this book right here,
Yeah.
the last page.
MyLion.
Learning.
On the bottom corner, you see LionsClub.org. There's the website.
I have the MyLion app.
Yeah, let interrupt.
yes, go ahead.
I don't have this thing all planned. Why don't we go to this?
And I actually have that on my, I don't have it on this computer, unfortunately.
Everybody's got a copy of this,
Yep.
these slides. I think this is the easiest way to do it. First of all, this book is essential. The ebook. We got a copy, hard copy of it. You can easily get that. When you go to that website, it's going to have a header up there. It says join, donate, and the search button. If you click on that search button over there, it'll come up with a search. Type Club Secretary ebook in there, and this whole thing will come up. Really great. Highly introducing blue. All you gotta do is click on it. Oh. Live, guys. There it is.
You have an account before and you got in, but you have to give it a lot of time. Would you have to create a new account or would you be able to go in and just sort of move past it?
You should be able to go right in.
Just move past it, 'cause I don't think we can.
I
It
would-
was so long that it's.
I would register again.
Okay.
All you need to register is just your.
You need your name and password.
Okay, now,
What?
what about a number? Member ID. You need your member ID.
Yeah. So if you don't know your member ID, the My Lion, anything that you get, your past secretary will have it, but the mailing label on your Lion magazine, your number.
So this is the club secretary section of LCI.
Yeah,
And so
okay,
this would be the,
where do you want to go? Run away. Join, donate, and the search button. Click on that. Okay, there you go. Type in secretary ebook. There you go. There you go. Your ebook, of secretary, you get the treasurer, you get everybody's. Right there. Easy peasy.
That's much better. Thank you.
so that, yeah, that's how you would get to that. It's a Bible, as Dick said.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Bible.
This.
Um,
One thing, when you come down here, it's your responsibility to secure the documents for the club. Our club is in a critical problem right now. We lost our meeting place. Our club charter was on the wall of that building. Our club charter is gone. We can't find it. So as secretary, one of your prime responsibilities, keep track of the documents of your club. For us specifically, our charter. I don't know if we've ever,
So and our club lost our charter. I mean, it was gone. It's not that old, but our club's was chartered in 58. And there's been multiple secretaries, and all this stuff gets passed from one to the next. And at some point in time, our charter disappeared. So you can actually get a new copy of it from LCI for $25. And it's a nice new copy of the charter, same size. And what we did, my daughter-in-law does calligraphy. And so we had all of our charter members' names, put on this new version of the charter. So we now carry that around with us and hang it up when we have a meeting,
so with your permission, why don't we go down with this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I
Let's
ask,
do
is there,
Yes.
are there term limits for these positions? Or is it just until you're done with it?
Term limits for secretary,
How long have you been?
I think 17 years.
Oh, boy, okay.
It's,
Sometimes secretary
Find someone
is,
else to take it.
is something that just continues.
Yeah.
Unless they
Okay.
decide they really want to give it up.
Seriously, once you get into the swing of it, it's a piece of cake. Yes,
So you don't have to vote every year for a secretary. I mean, if the same person wants to be in that position. I thought that. we had to vote.
actually, the secretary's responsibility on the 15th of April of every year, your new slate of officers has to be presented to LCI.
that's lagged the last couple of years because
Yeah,
of
we
the
got.
pandemic,
Yeah, because we're like, but
And so, yeah, that's not a big problem, but
What happens, the criticality of that, of the slate, when the district prints the roster, that's where they get their information. So you as secretary will present that to LCI, the district will draw it back. So whatever you put in, that's what's gets printed for everybody else.
And for Melissa, in your situation, have you been designated as a secretary in LCI yet? Have they put your name into LCI as a secretary?
They put me in as an assistant secretary.
That doesn't count.
Oh, I don't know the answer.
Right.
I haven't been in. those.
Well, so they know that you're a secretary. If your previous secretary has put you in to LCI, whatever your job is, whether it's president, treasurer, secretary, tail twister, LCI knows that. So like, for instance, in the video, she said, I'll go to, I pull this up and it pops up the president because it knows I'm the president, but I can select the secretary training. You can select any training you want, but
So I just need to check that it's in there.
you need
or-
to check that it's in there.
so
Right.
there's probably no assistant secretary.
There is an assistant. Well, that goes back to my other point that I was going to make a minute ago. There is an assistant secretary. It depends on what you call them in LCI. So there's an administrator. You can have a club administrator, and that person has the same rights, same permissions as the secretary. And the reason they did that was because so many people don't use computers, and LCI is all based on a computer now, that if you have somebody that's a secretary that doesn't even own a computer, which is the case in our district or our zone, you can have a person that's pretty savvy with the computer be the administrator, and they can do all the computer work that the secretary might not be able to do. And so then there are two other positions. There is a service coordinator, and then that person has permissions to enter things into my line. And well, actually to approve things in my line, because anybody can add activities into my line. There's a lot of misconception about that, but everybody, any lion that has an account, you can put service hours into my line. They don't go to LCI until the secretary or the service coordinator actually pushes a button, says submit, or the secretary. And the president, right, hits submit. So there are actually 4 people that could do all this work. And that's one of the things that they really have tried to promote, is to split up the work, because there is a lot of work to be in a secretary. There's a lot of things to keep track of. So if you can spread that workload out between those 4 people, it really makes it a lot easier for people, and you get less burnout, because people do get burned out, especially. So there's the president, the secretary, the club administrator, and then the service coordinator, service chairperson. I think that's what they call it.
So your administrator could be your assistant secretary.
Right. So if you had an assistant secretary, they could be the administrator. The secretary just has, and it's not a voted position. The secretary appoints a person. They can just put it in.
Voting on that.
Well, you can. It doesn't say you can't, but
Well, they
Your-
said
your
if they
best
had
friend,
voting,
you
I
can
was
appoint
told if they had voting, if you wanted them to have.
Who
voting
soon
rights.
will
Right.
be?
So they got us doing it for the historian.
Why don't we go down this thing real
Okay.
fast? So, I want everybody turn to these slides. I know it's gonna repeat some of the stuff. Okay, on page 1, the first slide, organized club and board meetings. That sort of coordinated effort between you and the president. For our club, the president sets the agenda and sends it out to the whole club. When we send out the agenda, we do it 2 ways. First of all, we'll send a text message to the phones that the agenda is on the email. So everybody in the club knows the agenda is has been emailed to them. A lot of people don't check their email that often, but they always check the text on their phone. So we do it both ways. Preparing the agenda, that depends on your club. Usually it's easier for the president to establish the agenda for the meeting and send it out. Club records and receive correspondence. You will get tons of mail. Some you don't want, and you disseminate it bring it to the club meeting, coordinate with the president how much of the correspondence is actually presented during the club meeting. Sometimes that takes a pre-meeting before the actual meeting itself.
Is that email or actual snail
Snail mail.
mail? Yeah.
It is definitely snail. Your mailbox will get full. Okay, keep club records and receive correspondence. Keep club records. We queried your minutes that you write are an official document of the club and are kept on file for the life of the club. So you as secretary should have the old secretary move that file to you, and you should have minutes from day one of your meeting all the way up till now on file. Doesn't happen very often. I've got a,
Part of the problem is the storage,
yeah,
you know, because it used to be on, you know, written,
Right.
you know, now it's usually on electronic form,
well, I type all my minutes.
overachiever.
Yeah. Okay, engage as active member of the district governor's advisory committee. This is your, for, the old name of this was a zone meeting. Every zone, the district is broken up into zones. And there's a zone chairman on that. Usually 7 or 8 clubs under the zone chair. He will have he's required to have a meeting twice a year. When he has that meeting, you as secretary, and usually the president will represent the club at that meeting, and any other members that want to go. Flip it over before the meeting. That's all been done. Meeting notices, the agenda, correspondence. So you're going to arrange the correspondence with your president. Any awards that are presented to members of the club will come to you. So if you get the chevron for years of service, different awards, LCI awards, whatever they are, they'll all come to you. You'll work with the president and have the presentation during the club meeting. Club roster, you maintain that. So it's easily done. Once you go in there and click on this, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll have a highlight that says My Club. So you click on My Club, and then it will give you different menus in there. One are members, and every member in your club will be listed. Come up with their club number, state, any assigned position that they have, or what. During the meeting, take attendance. There are 2 ways to take attendance. LCI has a nice little form. You check the box. Across it. You list each member on this form. Or you could informally. A lot of times what I'll do on the last minutes, I'll list the current members that are in the meeting on that. What you got, not gonna duplicate records. So when you file that last meeting's minutes, you've got this meeting's attendees on it. One piece of paper. Or you can go back to the old way. Like I said she records them. I've got the agenda, we're going down the agenda, and you make cryptic notes. You don't have to write this all out. Then you go home, you can remember the meeting, and you can type up your minutes. Make it more official. Ask new members to fill out the forms. I always carry our club trifold, carry at least 4 or 5 applications with me at any time. Right now, it's a great time for new members, guys. LCI has waived the membership fee.
$35.
25 bucks.
35.
35, you're right. So that'll save you, any new member, 35 bucks for joining them. Document guest speakers and visitors. And there's in the minutes form that from LCI, there's a spot on there. No members present, and any guests. After the meeting, well, you've already recorded, and you already have recorded. Assist the treasurer on processing dues. What we do in our club, the secretary sends out the due statements to everybody. We do it online. We don't send a snail mail statement out to them. And you can type up your own statement. Generally, what you got is current dues, past dues, and a space for any addendums in there. And I have them, don't mail the dues to secretary, give the treasurer's address, and they mail them straight to the treasurer. You don't want to do anything with money, but it's your responsibility to send out the statements. Before you do it, you check with the treasurer if there are any members that are in arrears on dues. So you're up to date. But the money goes straight to the treasurer. And then they take care of the money. That's their job.
So Dick, in our club, the treasurer actually sends out the statements.
Okay,
Yeah, and we have a system.
okay,
Your club, your way. That's what.
your club, your way.
Right.
So whichever way works out best, obviously. There's two ways. The board meetings, you got the boards. You gotta be at the board meetings. That the board members are the ones that run the club. Okay, page 5, recording minutes, we did that. All points of order. Supposedly, you're the expert on motions. Every motion must have, is presented, typically the motion is presented to the president. You get the nays or ayes and nays, and you record. If it's all unanimous in your minutes, it's passed unanimous. Supposedly, there's always supposed to be one nay in there. There is one club I know in our zone, there's always one member that says no to any motion. Okay, the time the meeting was called to order and adjourned. That's your responsibility for both. And nobody's any question, but you go to Robert's rules. Club records, here you go, guys. Here's your one of your big responsibilities. The second slide on page 5. The club charter is your responsibility. The constitution bylaws, if you have one. Maintain the club history. What we've got is a repository of all our awards and treasurer's reports, all the reports. So that's held in a file external to the club meeting. Retain all the minutes. And the minutes will show if there's a motion to spend, or if you spend money in the club, it has to be recorded in the minutes. So any monies that are approved to be spent are recorded in the minutes. You're gonna find there are 2 accounts that are maintained in the club. It's sort of going off in the Turner side. You got the administrative account and the project account. Any monies that come from the outside cannot be spent on club activities. You can't pay dues, you can't buy stuff. It comes from the public, it has to go back to the public. So the only place you're gonna get administrative funds is dues and your tail twister. And if you have a 50-50 or something like that, something that is in the club. So it's what you have to record in the minutes that those monies are spent. As a permanent record of your club. Annual reports, that's your. That's your office. We'll skip that next one and maintain the roster. Page 6. Correspondence. Boy, did they hit it right on the top. You're gonna get stuff from international, you're gonna get it from the district, you're gonna get it. There. Great. So they can come, like I said here, they come anyway. Open read and distribute. And you discuss with your president what you do. You're gonna find you and the president are gonna work hand in hand. Neither one can operate with the other. So the secretary and the president are 2 most important jobs in the club. Correspondence. Our newsletter is done online in our service. Chair does that. We don't. So the secretary. Maybe you want to be the newsletter writer. That's an easy one to slough off. Publicity, yeah. And sub reports. Top of page 7. I don't think that. That's kid. 1 of 14. Okay, you're gonna be the one that updates the club roster. Only you, as secretary, can add or drop members of your club. And it's easily done. You go into membership on that menu, and you'll have a menu right there. Put all the information. And once you submit it, it'll automatically be added to your club roster.
Dick, I've got a question.
Yes.
On adding members, as soon as they're added into LCI, but they haven't been sworn in yet, are they technically a Lion?
As soon as the secretary puts their name on the roster on LCI, they are a member. That's a gray area.
Yeah.
Really, they can't be a member until they're inducted.
So is induction or being on the roster?
Well,
It should be sworn in before.
they should be sworn in before
They're added to the
they're
roster.
added to the roster.
But it should be post roster.
They should be. a lot of times, we will wait for an induction ceremony. For either the zone chair to come down or the governor to come down. That's the reason I'm hesitating on Roger. But, so officially, you can't put them on the roster until they have been inducted. However, that's your,
Like if you were trying to get the 60 for 60 challenge.
yeah,
And you couldn't arrange an
Induction
induction
ceremony.
ceremony. There's probably a little wiggle room in there, I'm gonna. assume.
I would,
Okay, I don't know for
personally,
sure,
I would put them in.
especially if it was to avoid the $35,
Oh,
initiation fee if you
is
couldn't.
that gonna go over?
They're not saying it's extended. So we're going under the
So
assumption
end
it's
of
gonna go
June,
away at the end of June.
it may be gone.
So,
And they have to be inducted before they can become an officer.
oh yeah,
Yes, that's a definite.
That's it.
Yeah,
So is that $35 a yearly dues?
no, it's a one-time charter initiation,
Oh,
the initial fee to
entry fee,
entry fee.
whatever you want to call it. So, some people call it a charter fee. I guess,
Yeah.
Maybe.
I hate to use the charter fee. Yeah, that's a one-time fee. And you'll see on the application, there's a line for that fee on there. So when a member's inducted, you'll have the, if valid, the $35 LCI fee. And and I always put the dues in there, right? Because we always assess dues 6 months ahead. So in June, I will assess, or treasurer, dues will be assessed from June to December. So if somebody comes in, let's say October, you can prorate your dues out. Divide it by 6. Let's say the third month, it's half, 6 months dues. So that's it, that's the initial fee for joining your club. Fee is a bad word. It's fairly appropriate. Let's skip, I think LCI on slide 17. That's gonna be covered in the second session by LCI. That's actually in my line. So let's skip over to page 11. Let's skip. Ben, please throw questions at me. I'm skipping too fast for you. Zone meetings, we pretty well covered that. So you are a member of the zone meeting, which is the District Governor Advisory Committee. If we flip it over to page 12. What you're gonna do, you will, either you or the president, probably you, will give a slight brief of what your club's been doing since the last zone meeting. And some of your activities, it's interesting, all the clubs will present what they do. You can learn a lot from other clubs, what they've been doing out there, a lot of their activities and such that. The zone meetings are fun,
How often do they happen?
twice a year. And so the zone chair will call the meeting. And usually for us, the president and the secretary will attend. And any other members that want to go. Oh, let's go to page 13. Succession planning. You haven't even been a secretary yet. You're gonna plan to quit. This is critical. So, once you come to the end of your term, you've got to pass all the documentation over to the new secretary, which you should get. Huh? Okay, so you review your format, or the secretary can, incoming can have a his own format. Make sure the roster is up to date. And it's not necessary, but it's kind of nice. You can print out that club roster for the new secretary. Kind of nice for him because automatically he's got a hard copy of their membership number, how many years they've been in, and
Can I ask a question?
yes,
Now, I heard you say that the secretary is kind of like, to me, the historian, but you're saying it sounds like to me, they're the historian of the club. We have a secretary and a historian. So,
you're fortunate.
well. Okay, well, I'll put it like this. But I mean, but the secretary, if we didn't have a historian, the secretary would actually be responsible for that.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking that is because I was told that for the historian, you didn't have to keep the meeting minutes. The secretary, I guess, is the one that's supposed to keep that. Okay. I just wanted to be clear because I didn't keep, I mean, as assistant secretary, I took some minutes, but some of the minutes that I get weren't getting like an email, and somehow my email has gotten zipped on some of them. Because I'm used to sending them in an attachment if I.
Yeah, let your secretary take the minutes. That's the secretary.
I just wanted to make sure it didn't have to be part of my historian.
But if you're fortunate enough to have a historian, you're gonna get, your club's gonna get awards for doing stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, well. we can do that,
pictures,
And I want to go time.
and we use our service chairman to do that. So we don't have.
We have
Okay.
So when you're talking about keeping these records, where do you keep, I guess I need to go kind of like, where do you begin with all
Well,
this stuff?
well, we have,
Because we didn't, our secretary, left, and there was no passing on.
Right down here.
So,
my minutes, I have an expandable folder.
so it's just a physical record.
Physical, keep them in some place.
Okay.
And then, if I didn't have them, actually, we got a 2-drawer file cabinet that has all the treasurer's reports. Treasurer's report are 7 years. All the minutes, I just keep them at my home because I refer back to them. I know the first 15 years are in that file cabinet. I got the current.
We're going to start we got a guy. And he's going to do it. That way we can have everything in one place, even if we have paper documents. Because like I told my. Yeah, that way, whoever is, comes into the club.
If you have a good listener that sets it up, everyone can just add to it.
Yeah, he's gonna set it up to that.
So, bottom line, if you guys have any questions, Roger has my email number. Write me. I'll be glad to help you, or look the, what's John or Dick section. Look the club roster, list field, and my email will come up. I'm glad to help anybody who wants to.
I told you not to do that.
Sorry about taking over.
Oh, that's fine.
You know, that's better, right? Oh, you guys get an evaluation. I did not pass on the evaluation.
And you can use this for everything.
So it's like you have all this time to get, that's when the end of the year starts.
You'll look for.
So that's when you just, here's my, I just,
Well, it's a gap session.
yes, the my line. You made it very, very logical, thank you.
There was an evaluation.
Roger had the evaluation.
And we can use this for all of it.
For all of it, right.
I'm glad you got rid of the Zoom meeting and how to do it, so it's much simpler when you start talking.
How'd everything?
It's gonna pull everything out.
I was crazy back there.
And I think that helped a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got it, I would just tell them to say this, this, and this, and this, thank you.
We sit in the front and we're from the podium. We take a back seat to no one.
So Brent.
But I have a
you
question
have
for
your
you.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I do. Is it easiest to just do that?
Easier to do this,
Okay.
because this is all hooked up to the Zoom and
I can't-
Gotcha.
recorded it and all that.
And will we be screen sharing that or? Okay.
Yeah, that was getting painful. Whoa, how did you get in the 50-50?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing that.
No.
Yeah, because I
Ooh.
need. I know, you got it. I know, I appreciate that.
Whoopsie.
I think we have all the things.
We were too busy.
Because I was, no, two kids, I will have.
We could.
No, yeah.
We need a,
There was only one spot left, so I took it
okay,
over on
that's
this
fine,
side.
That's fine. Is it gonna work okay? It's not gonna, we can tip this back so it's not leaning against the,
Well, I got it there now.
I think it's okay.
But I
Oh, check
must
your
be a
tickets.
loser. I must be a loser, I'm thinking.
I went to every file.
8110? 8110? Okay, that's not me. As I was.
How did you get into 50-50? I didn't know about it. You were really trying to sell.
You want to, if you want to stand here and use that camera, or I have a remote camera.
Oh, this camera.
You know, you can stand up there and I can run slides for you.
Okay, my slides are a jumble, so
Okay.
so normally I can, like on my computer, I can use my cell phone. It keeps my notes right on the phone and I can forward and reverse the slides, but still, no big deal. No, gotta be flexible, sir, and that's,
And it's easy. The blue highlighted areas.
Even if I'm not in there, it's secretary.
Yeah, actually, you don't have to log in. You get to the ebook, not logging in. Whatever. Huh? Somebody is-
You shall have a.
Oh, and remember when I put out the, meeting with the Board of Health? Okay, get Cat Everybody attention! Is everybody's name in the full basket to win a gift card? Yeah. Here you go. Look here. Put your name on here.
When you're registered. Your name went in there.
Did anybody here have that winning number 8066, the last four?
Wait a minute.
8066. We're looking for a winner.
Here.
You found it?
Again.
You got it. Where have you been?
I was in the potty.
Oh. Here, I think she wants to give it to you.
Oh my God, I knew I was
Did you? Hey, outstanding.
You what?
Yeah.
No kidding. That's why you were supposed to do that. Jump up.
It worked. I took it as long as I could take it.
Well, actually, I am going to send out the bill. Oh, everything from our mail goes,
I see we've got,
most, yeah, most.
is this working? The mouse? Okay. Then,
Everybody.
yeah.
Tim Southworth, Tim.
I also called.
I have pictures of the last time we did that, you can stick that one. Another time we did this. That's just- so-
You have a really nice craft.
Not that I'm aware of.
That's one.
No.
That's okay.
We have a.
This is free.
That's how you've been trying to find a home for.
We have, the nursing home, so-called charter.
Yeah. No.
That's
this is
what
urgent care.
I-
This is the way the service
And
act.
then when they get all done, they'll come stuff and something, I love this.
You know, this is for-
Yes. I-
Yes. So this is the service reporting, the My Lion. group.
I'm gonna sit back here.
Hi, how are you?
All right, here, move my junk and Eric. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
That's awesome. How's everybody doing?
I need it. Right.
We're not supposed to start till 7:15, so I got a couple minutes to keep telling jokes.
Oh, yeah, you guys are set.
Stick around.
Yeah, no, we're set here, that's nice.
We're good to go.
Oh, we went to get the- working at the- oh, gosh.
The junior
current secretary is. Needs to put the office next year. On June first, you'll be able to do some training in the MyLCI program and stuff. And nothing that you do will make any effect until July first. So July first, you should have everything. You should have all the credentials that you need.
I want her Sam, I mean, I just got my hand.
It might look like that, but it won't feel that. Here's- I was passing around a sign-in sheet. I want to make sure that everyone gets their name and email address on there. I'm going to be having Kathy Koenig email you all the stuff that I just got in PowerPoint. So I didn't print off sheets. I don't print things. I don't even have a printer at home. I just take them. If I need to print, I go to the library. Here's one. This is mine. I'll get you. Sit down.
I'm so glad that you guys picked it up.
Every member
She has a number.
Okay. I'm gonna show you that in just a minute, but lionsclubs.org. Members. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing some, signed up for reading.
West Nigel has a registry. Maybe he has
This is one of my favorites.
like.
I didn't sweat on it. I can do that before.
Okay, and I've only got 45 minutes, and so I want to be able to definitely have enough time to do some question and answer. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and yep, put those down. You can maybe leave the back lights on, or everybody okay with it being a little bit subdued in here?
That option we
I
don't
can't
have.
see you quite as well, so I won't be
We
very
either
sure.
have that or
You
that.
shake it up a little bit.
There we go.
Want to make sure that you're comfortable. How's that feel?
Yeah, get it.
Maybe a little bit, get this side okay? So this side, say hello to this side.
Hey, other side.
We're good over here.
Good over here?
Yep, we got plenty.
All right. How about that? Okay. So my name is Lion Brent. I hail from Ashley, Michigan. It's about an hour and a half north of here. And I'm not going to call myself a specialist in my lion, but I'm just the right age that I just happen to be able to do techie things as second nature. Not everybody can. Now, did this room say hi? Did this half of the room yet? Okay. Because I think you all know each other, right? I'm the one that doesn't know anyone. So I started off as a lion in Ashley. I was a president back in 2004 of that club, and I'm going to be president this next year. So it was great to be up here and actually get some Lions president training that's current. So I appreciate you, District 11B1, for inviting me to come down here and talk. Now, I understand a lot of you were here last year and have been having some problems and some successes as well using my lion. Yeah, you're right. Once in a while it works. Okay, so that was, I wanted to stand up here and talk to you all, but I'm gonna have to get behind the computer. I'm sorry about that.
You want
Do
me
I
to
want
take it
us
for you?
to stand and just click it for you?
You can, but it's gonna be a challenge because I've got my slides arranged. So what I do is I like to talk to the class and kind of get some interactiveness going first, because I can talk a lot about stuff that you don't even care about my life. And that would be a waste of all of our time. So what I want to do is really spend some time talking about the things that you want to know about my lion. Now, normally when I'm doing training for individuals, and I'll do that by doing remote control computer sessions, Zoom, stuff like that, to kind of to help people learn at their own pace from their own home. I can do that, and my email information will be out there for you if you need that. But with my lion, it's really quite in depth. I call it my service, because if you're a club secretary or a club president, you end up using my LCI, and you use insights, and you use my lion, and it can all get confusing. The thing that I like everybody to know is that my LCI is for membership. It's for doing things for memberships to run your club. My lion, my service is for talking about service projects. What your lions in your club do. Okay. What your lions do now, a little bit of history and background. We used to have to write these. Somebody raise a hand if you remember sending in a MMR by the 25th of every month. Just the way that our organization grew, the way that postage started to become a factor, we needed to move things digital. It's just environmentally friendly. It's for the most part quite friendly to those that are at least a little bit techy, and it really gives the leaders of our global organization the clout that they need when they are talking to the bigger organizations around the globe. So when they can say there's 1.4 million lions on the planet doing service, and they can show how many hours, how much funds they've raised, they can break everything down. You know, we're doing this much in environmental causes, we're doing this much for childhood cancer, diabetes. They can tell a person exactly what is being reported to them without a whole lot of office staff having to file and collate paperwork to figure it out. So that's kind of the reason behind reporting your club's service. Now, it also makes it easier for your zone chairs and your governors, region chairs. So does that all make sense about why we report service? Okay, because all the service that we're doing, we still are just a little bit below half of all the clubs in the world that are reporting. So the impact that Lions have around the world is much bigger even than what our numbers show on my line. So before the end of this class, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that service can be entered using the MyLine program. I'm going to show you on slides how it's done on a handheld device like a phone. I'm also going to show you the web version, which would be using a desktop. Okay, but the MyLine program itself allows you to plan, invite, and share the service activities of your club. It allows you to report activities if you're an officer. Allows you to connect and chat with Lions from around the world. Nobody's doing that. And then it allows your club, your district, your multiple district to actually see what's going on in your club and in your district. So I, as a multiple district leader, am able to boil down and see what does District 11B1 do? What does their district do? I can see if you're heavy on diabetes, which I know you've got a diabetes specialty club, so I expect to see a lot of diabetes service projects. So by show of hands, how many multiple district leaders do you have in the room where you're looking at Lions clubs around the state? Have any there? How about district leaders where you're concerned and you're looking at clubs within your district here? Maybe you're a zone chair or a region chair. Got one, okay. Because I want to be able to show you some neat ways to be able to report out your service as well. The rest of you are you just individual club members, presidents, and secretaries? Okay. Okay, well then I know I'm going to kind of dial in, and yes, ma'am, in the back.
Committee chairs at that level.
Okay,
State level.
committee chairs at the state level, yeah. If you're the hunger committee chair, the childhood cancer chair, you've got access to, you can do more with MyLine than even I can as a state membership chair. So I can show you some interesting things to do with that as well. But I think the biggest part of the room, you're looking at what is MyLine and how is it going to work for me and my club? So I'm going to try to focus mainly on that for the next few minutes. Okay, go ahead and click next. Okay, yeah, all that is true. And then on July 1st, 2019, we all had to start doing it, whether you liked it or not. And most of us didn't like it.
Right.
There was a good reason why. It didn't work that well. Okay, but with that, LCI has listened to us as members, especially in constitutional area 1, which is the whole United States, and it's extra spots and spaces. We've never planned and told them what we're doing before we do it. A lot of the world does that. They actually plan their service projects using MyLine before they do the service projects. Well, in the United States, we've always done it afterwards. There wasn't even a button for that there. There is now. The service reporting that we used to do, that we used to bang our heads to try to get loaded into this, is now seriously 2 to 3 minutes per project. Typically, I'm able to train a secretary of a club or president or service chair to enter all the service within under 15 minutes a month for clubs 50 and less. So it should not be a burden. This is something that should be pretty easy. Go ahead and click next. This right here is the biggest hurdle for most of us when it comes to getting signed up. Now, I'm a big proponent. I think that every Lions member should sign in to their Lions account and be able to see what their club is doing. Whether you're a president, secretary, treasurer, whatever kind of member you are, it's worthwhile to sign into your Lions account. Okay? That's where the trouble begins. When you fill out your application, sometimes I'm gonna have to say that it is not always the men that lie about their age. And on your application, the secretary puts that in, but when you go to sign into My Lion, you actually put your own birthday in, that's real, and it doesn't match out, and it kicks you out. Okay, so what you put in your original membership application that your secretary input into My LCI has an effect on whether you get through this first part. Okay, so your email address, it'll ask, you can try to do it by telephone number as well. If most people don't give their cell, or at least haven't given their cell phone numbers to their secretaries, and it doesn't work real well using a home phone because it tries to text a code to the phone number to verify that you are who you are. So you need to know your membership ID. And when you checked in tonight, I noticed that they had all of the membership IDs next to your name as at the registration table. So if you don't know your member ID, you haven't signed up yet, you can check with that sheet on the way out. You can also, your membership number is on your your Lion magazine, as well as the Lions Pride newspaper that comes. Okay. And then an email or phone number. So if you were a Lion, you got started as a Lion 15 years ago, that email has changed and it's still the same in the system, it's going to give you troubles. When you get troubles and you get locked out, and so that is something that does happen a lot. It is a lot of the reason why people quit. I'm like, oh, we're done with it. Done, try it. Get with your secretary, make sure that all your information is current, and then right here, this is a magic number. Okay, 630-468-6900. That gets you to the My LCI people that can fix your problems. Your club secretary, as long as all the information is up to date, that's all that she can do. Sometimes once you've gotten locked out, there are internal triggers that can't be reset by any of us at the state level. That number gets you to someone who can. Now, if you've ever had to call My or LCI, you know, many times you can't get to the right person there. It's hard. This number is not hard. I called it last night just to make sure I had the right number. As soon as I heard the voicemail, I'm like, yep, that's the right number. Click, hung up. They called me back 15 minutes later. Sir, did we get disconnected? Actually, no, I was just. So these people will take care of you with getting through the registration process. Okay. Seriously, biggest hurdle. It's most of the time self-inflicted. Make sure you set up a password that you can remember. Computer security people hate to hear me say this. Write it down. Put it somewhere in your Lions. That's okay. Next slide, please.
Your password, if you don't remember it, you have to call that number, or can you reset?
You can. There is a button, a place where you can click. I forgot my password. In fact, that's the first thing that I would have you try if you tried to go through this. But I forgot. But if you can't get it done that way, that magic number is the one to do. Okay. And the next slide, please. This is where it can go ahead again. Okay. So this is what it's very similar to what you will see once you log in on a computer. This is the Lions homepage, the My Lion homepage. It shows your club name. It shows you in whatever role that you have. So it tells us what you're president, secretary, treasurer, committee chair. It shows how many service projects, how many people you've served, how much money you've raised, how much money you've given away. A lot of information about your club. This is and I have to say, District B1, your clubs were like 80-some% of clubs reporting. I come from a district who is struggling to get out of the 50s. So
I congratulate you for already having had the gumption to get through this and start reporting service. But this, if your members are looking and they're just seeing zeros across there, the members are enough to actually prompt some action from the leadership of your club to actually start inputting the service that you do. Because a lot of times secretaries are busy, they don't want to. And I understand that there are some questions as to who can put in service. So I want to address that real quick. And there's a slide somewhere later in the deck that talks about it a lot more in depth. But essentially, the president, the secretary, the service chair, and the club administrator. Those four can report service, okay? No, I said report. Every member can get on their phone and make up a service project. Sometimes I've heard of clubs that are really using the MyLion, have everybody create a service project, have all their members create a service project on MyLion, and then they vote on one at their meeting. And then, so we can all create a project. They don't always come to fruition. Once they do come to fruition, president, secretary, service chair, and club administrator can actually push the button so that it gets reported to LCI. Okay, go ahead, next slide. This is what it looks like when you're looking at service activities. Some clubs, you'll see just lots of these blue tents. They don't put their own pictures in. If you like things a little bit different, you can use your own pictures, upload a picture right from your own event. And that's where some of these other pictures are coming in. At the end of the service, or at the end of the time that you spend entering the service, there's a spot to upload a photo. There's a cover photo. There's also a spot to enter a bunch of other photos so that other Lions would be able to see some stuff with your project. Okay, go ahead next. Okay, this is about the communications and chat. You know what? If not every Lion in your club is using MyLion, it's not helpful to send out invitations using this because nobody's going to get them. Okay, if your club ends up in that spot where all the members are using it on their phone or whatever, then this works. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because it's just, I haven't found a club yet that really this is quite useful for. Now, it's kind of fun for me because as I learn your names, I look you up and add you as friends. So when you get onto MyLion, you'll see, oh, Brent Pearson wants to be a friend. Yeah. It's something that I do. And then if I see you across the room and I might be sitting over here and I can MyLion you from across the room. It's just, but texting and all the other social media that we have, this is a little bit overkill. So go ahead next. And next. Okay. Selecting a cause. So if you're just one of the regular members and you'd like to set up a service project, never done one before, you could, there are preloaded templates for how to do a service project. It's all built right in. You click on which category of service that you'd like to do, and it gives you a number of different projects that you could do. You can go through that, create a project, and then ask your club if it's something that they would like to do. Next slide. And this is more of the same. Most folks actually talk about creating service at their club meetings. They don't have random members just doing it on their phones and their devices. So if yours is a club that does do that, raise your hand. I can tell you more about it, but I think we'll just kind of push things, people moving. Okay, this is the old way. This is there's a continue up here, there's a continue down here, but no matter where you were at on the screen, you could never see it. So we've stopped this one. So go ahead and click next. This is more about inviting people to your service activity. Your members are already loaded in there. Go ahead and next. And next. And next. Okay, so this is one for those of you who are, have some district responsibilities. You can actually click on metrics. Okay, and you're able to see what service projects the clubs in your district are doing. Now, are there any clubs that have little rivalries going? You know, like Michigan Center and another club. You try to see if you can raise the most money or anything like that. I've always found that clubs that are close together sometimes do a little membership. You know, hey, we're going to see who get the most members. If your club gets more members, we'll buy you dinner. We get the most members, you buy us dinner, stuff like that. This is a way where you can actually kind of track that progress and see who's leading who in the horse race. Okay, so it's metrics, and you can see all the way out to the entire constitutional area with that. So you can really see a lot. If you want to just see your own club, all your own club's stuff will be here. Go ahead, next slide. Okay, the mobile application. So I do believe, and I hope I did say that the mobile application has got some difficulties. Okay, it is not the easiest way to input service. It's just, and this is personal, because I don't have good fingers for typing stuff in on a telephone keyboard. I have a hard time with that. And I can only see part of the screen at a time. So, you know, this is really 3 screens that normally you could just scroll up or down and see them all. I prefer the web version that really lets me see everything that I want to see. And the entire form is almost all visible there. And I have some screenshots of that I'll went through here right at the end. Okay, go ahead, next slide. And next slide. Yep. Keep right on going. Okay, this is just showing how everything looks on the phone. And go ahead, next. You can even donate to LCIF using your MyLion app. So, okay, and next. And one more next. Okay, I'm gonna have to get to this. If you can do like a 4 or 5 clicks and just get me to the page with a bunch of check marks on it. One more. There you go. Okay, so this is the one that I was referring to earlier. You're gonna get this in the email. This shows all of the different people who can access and enter what. So there are lots of different levels, but the ones that you mainly need to know: president, secretary, service chair, club administrator. Okay, they can report the club activities. Now you also have some district officers that can report club activities. Well, if you end up to being one of those clubs that maybe are tech challenged, or you don't have good internet, you're in a rural area, that allows the folks to help out. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go through both the web version and the mobile app version of how to enter a service project. Okay, so now I want you to back up those 5 or 6 slides. And you'll also get this in the email after. Okay, so right there, you get through the first hurdle. Go to lionsclubs.org, click on the member center. It brings you here. You sign in. Next. You click on My Lion. Okay. Next. It brings you to this. Okay, remember, in the United States, we report activities that we've already done. Okay, so this is what you're typically going to be doing. So you're going to click on Report Past Activity. Go ahead and next. If you are a club officer, okay, president, secretary, service chair, administrator, you will have a orange report plus button. The rest of the members of your club will not have that button available for them.
Are you gonna email us the PowerPoint?
I am, and I'm gonna email you the PDF that this will, that this was all drawn from. So I'm going kind of fast, aren't I? Yeah.
No, you're right.
Okay, so you click report plus. Next slide. This is the entire form to enter a service project. Okay? Used to be very convoluted. Now it's all on one page. You put the name in, how many days, the activity type, the cause, the project type. Okay? Those pink shaded areas need to have something in them. Okay? You can also determine who gets to see that. I let the whole world see what my club does. I think, and then a little description. Okay, and then this little plus right here, that's where you can add your picture. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then click report. Okay, that simple. Totally that simple. Go ahead and click that. When you get this back, you know that it worked. Okay. Let me talk about a few snafus that happen. You go ahead, you enter a project that you've reported, you click report, you get the successfully submitted splash screen back. I'm telling you, don't go back looking for 24 hours. Give the system 24 hours. Okay, then go back and look, see did it make it in there? Has anybody entered a service project that's never showed up? Yeah. Okay, after 24 hours, it should show up. If another 24 hours goes by and it still hasn't showed up, you know what to do?
Resubmit it.
Or submit it again. It really only took a couple minutes. You know, you can try to go down the rabbit hole and try to figure out what happened. I don't waste my time like that because it can take a long time to figure out what happened. And it's definitely not any of our fault. It just, that's what happens sometimes in the digital freeway. Things get lost. It doesn't happen near as much now as it used to, so be thankful for that. But this is why those quick slides, everybody here has just entered a service project. Okay. We're going to have some time to talk about what is a service project. As soon as we're done, see how we can do this by phone. Go ahead, next slide, please. And the next one. Okay. So these are actually, I entered a service project and took screenshots from my phone, put them into a slide. So once again, boom, the biggest hurdle right there. I think you were looking at this, there was no register button for you.
I found it on the app.
Found it on the app, okay. Once you're in, this is kind of what, this is the first page that you come to. It shows all of the activities in your club. Okay, in order to enter a new activity for your club by using the mobile device, you click the plus in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, that brings up this little whoop from the bottom. You click on report past activity. Okay, that's what we do. That's how Lions are doing things in the United States. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, once you click report past activity, all of the stuff that your club members may have added show up there. And you can click on report as a club officer and report their service projects. You know, they get to use my line to tell you what service they've done or what service they would like to do, but officers are the ones who actually move it up to the LCI level. Okay, but we always do the stuff that has already happened. Create a past activity to report. It's right there. You click that button. Things look a little bit different than on the web app. You have to pick which type you're going to do rather than just typing it in. Okay, so most of us are going to be doing either service projects or fundraisers, but you can put meetings in there too. If you make a donation to an organization, log it. Okay, click one of those four. And then it comes right back to kind of the same, fill it in, but it seems to go from the bottom up. The description is at the top here instead of like it was at the bottom of the web app. But you just fill all that stuff in. If you have, so where it says select a club, like my club is the Leo sponsor for the Lions All-State Band. So I can click here and select the Lions All-State Band and enter their service as well. And if your club has that, or if you're a district officer, and you want to do a district, your club will be there and your district will be there as well.
We have a question.
Yes.
So if individual members make a donation to different charities, they want that, or is it the Lions?
So service that we're reporting here is from your Lions Club. So if an individual member is giving money to Jerry's kids, that's for them. If it's your club that has asked everyone to give to that, then you would report it. But if it's not a club function, typically you don't report it by using the MyLion. Okay, go ahead, next slide, please. So you fill that stuff out, and so once I filled that out, it created this little block here. Okay, and then it gives me a couple of more options. How many people serve, how many volunteers. Every time that we do a service project, it asks, could we invite non-Lions or family members? You have to say yes or no to that. Okay, once you fill that out, you click proceed. Bing, your activity has been added. It's time to make the world a better place. I just like that. It's way better than yours has been submitted. You click OK there, and it'll go right back again. Go ahead, next slide, please. It'll go right back to let you start putting in another service project. Okay, so we can kick the lights back on. We've got just a little bit over 10 minutes to do some Q&A. I know I didn't cover everything. There's a lot of questions, so yes, ma'am.
Now I understand the donations, that's either a club activity or individual. But what about service activities? Actual volunteers?
That I have a good PDF that's going to be getting mailed or emailed to you. Let me go ahead and bring that up real quick. I'll just sit back here and throw that up on the screen because it really does make a great clarification. I'm gonna, yep. So everything that everything is gonna come to you that you see on that slide right there. I don't, if this is not, maybe there's no Adobe Acrobat on the computer, huh?
I think they were using something else.
Okay.
Play slides earlier.
Yep, this is just a PDF. There we go. Okay. It's just taking a moment to load everything. So yeah. Yeah, see how it just kind of.
It must have seriously large pictures.
Not really. So anyways, this PDF talks about what is service. You just asked me is answered down here. What is not reportable service? So basically, it's things that, just like with donations, if you're an individual member making a donation to another organization, thank you. But it's not really gonna count as a service for your Lions Club. Okay? If you are volunteering at your church, or you're volunteering and it's just you, we don't report that as service, okay? If it's a service of your club, okay? If you are working at the church as a Lions member, that service should be reported. Okay, but all of those things, and it's really kind of it's one of those areas where, is there a hard fast rule, and is there a service corrections officer to correct anybody? There's not. You make a mistake, it's okay. No one's going to punish you for accidentally putting in service that may or may not.
But that's the not list. Can we go over the what is list?
Yeah, absolutely. So the what is, having meetings, Lions advocacy, things. If you're in a spot and you're handing out, maybe you're doing your white pay, or maybe you're at a booth at a county fair and you're handing out things to talk about what Lions do and the great things they do in the community. If you go and make a presentation to the township board about a need in your community, that's advocating for Lions. When you're,
People said that one of the clubs are just arguing about this one. If you're typing up the meeting minutes and you're updating the roster for your club, you are serving your club. Typing the meeting minutes is service time.
it is,
Cleaning the clubhouse.
and it's up to your club whether or not they want to report that.
No, the one
It
thing,
is reportable. Yes, I'm talking too much.
oh no, the one thing it said was driving people to appointments was not one. But if you are taking, one of our members has driven people for corneal transplant, things like that. That's a different
That
story.
is a different story.
But it's like you're driving your neighbor to her eye appointment because she can't drive. That's not.
And maybe it is, if that's a function that your club members do, and they look for people in the community that need that service, then I'd say yes. But if it's just the kindness of your own heart, then I would say no. But a lot of clubs, they focus on those certain areas. Okay, so the administrative tasks, yes, it counts. I've got a couple of clubs in my district that, man, when it comes to service hours, they have got tons, because they've got 4 or 5 different district committee chairs. They've got a past governor. They've got somebody on the multiple district. They're always doing something. Like, I'm down here right now. What I'm doing counts as service. We don't enter that stuff in my club. They don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, but my club is still entering service. That's the big thing. Do get your members to become conscious of the service that they do and the service that your club does. And when you enter it like this, it gives everybody credit for what they're doing. So I'm not saying don't do the administrative tasks. I'm just like, if your secretary or your service chair is too busy to constantly be entering all that stuff, don't worry about it. But make sure that car show, that all the stuff that your club is doing, make sure that stuff gets there for sure. Like,
Not just showing up for the car show, but organizing it too, right?
yes,
So
yes.
Roger and I put in a lot of hours to get this going tonight. We should probably add those up.
Yeah, that can be used. So that, if you had 3 hours of planning meetings to get this, those 3 hours go. No, here's the thing. What club gets it? Are you guys in the same club?
Nope. So
Oh,
but
good.
this
Well,
is
what we gonna
district-
do?
this is district training though.
Okay, yeah, but
That's easy, but if it's a joint project, like when
So-
Vandercook Lake gets together with Whoever.
when we're doing joint projects, it's a handshake deal. Okay, I was just a part of 2 different clubs setting up an Easter egg hunt. That was the little thing that I did on the phone. We were 3 Lions there helping 20 Lions to set up an Easter egg hunt. We entered it as service and we let them know beforehand, we're only about 10% of the size of you. So however many kids did you get, we're gonna take, so they had 400 kids, we served 40. We made that deal before we were even done.
So you divvied it up,
Yeah,
as opposed to Club A took credit this time and Club B will take credit next time.
and that works too. Yeah, that works too. Yes, sir.
So I used to be president and did this up in Saginaw area, and then I'm helping our club get reporting here. And I find it real easy, just helpful hint, is to report this right, like you have a meeting, count your Lions, how many are there the next day or even that night, just go in and do it. And that way you keep current on that. I think meetings is something that gets missed a lot because you're so focused on your service projects, that you can report your meetings on here as well, and your board meetings. And again, you do it sooner or later, or just keep a tab and make sure by the end of the month that you reported everything that's on your list. And if you just keep track of what you did, and how many Lions you did, if it was a fundraiser, how much money you had, how many people you served. How many people you served is kind of hard sometimes.
Sometimes
You're
it
doing
is.
White Cane.
But nobody will call
We
you
did White
from
Cane
LCI
collection
and said
for
they
6
sent
hours. How many people did we serve? Sometimes that's a question, but either keep a list, make sure you do it by the end of the month, because that's when the reports go out to the zone chairs and everybody, and or do them right after the fact.
You don't see them to the end of the month because the system gets overloaded.
Yeah, and you can put them in anytime. I say, usually when
Do it
I get home
weekly.
from a meeting, I just sit in front of my computer. Because it really only takes that long.
And you find it seems a little complicated, but after you've done a couple of them, it gets, like you said, it gets pretty easy to do. So just click on what type of project it is and then enter the information.
Did you guys already cover when does it show up?
We did.
Okay.
24 hours after, you wait another 24 hours after that, then you just put it in again.
Did they just disappear? The system eats it?
Sometimes, rarely
It goes to that rabbit hole.
it disappears. You don't want to try to figure out why or not. Yes, ma'am.
No, I was listening to him saying when he went in and put it in this meeting, are you going up under projects? What is it that you're going after to put your, enter your meetings in?
To enter them in, you click the activity and like you'll say hunger or environment, and one of those is meetings. And there's a tab right there that says meetings. So you click meetings and, add our monthly board meeting or add our biannual club meeting. Then you put a little thing in there, add a speaker.
Okay.
How many people you have.
Any other quick questions? Sorry, I ran a little bit over time. I was hoping to have more time.
Just a quick question. So if you did it, you wait 24 hours, something there, you wait 24 hours, you got in there, you put it in, and then it's there. Does it duplicate them?
Typically, it won't duplicate
Because it's the same number.
because it's the same message.
Okay.
Yeah. But.
You're not gonna get 2 sets of shoes like when you do.
And
on
if you
Amazon.
do, you can delete.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? So zone chairs and committee chairs, there are ways for you to see the club's activities that you're working with. So I can kind of show you that personally if you'd like to see that, but for the rest of you, everybody, thank you for your attention. Hopefully you gained something positive out of our talk tonight. And nice to meet you.
Anybody want any social media
Information, social media? Oh, yeah.
I highly recommend you take one of those. Okay. Who has the sign-in sheet?
Or no, it was from Terry.
Sure.
Probably should have got power now.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is there like a, platform?
There is a platform. It's called